So I think I figured out the motorsport game scam. Full stop. Here is generally how it operates. Dupe investors into funding the company, pocket the cash, live large. That's it. So this scam starts all the way back in 2004, spreads into the 2010s, and then finally we arrive at motorsport games today. So Motorsport Network founder Mike Zoy and Dmitry Kosko started a company called Net Element in 2004, with Oleg Fire as their CEO. Now, according to Barron's, it's not actually clear what this company did, bouncing from tech fad to tech fad, usually in the form of just acquiring other companies. One of those being Unified Payments, which is just a credit card payment processing app. Does this sound vaguely familiar? Well, it should. It's not unlike how Motorsport Games operated, just going out and acquiring Studio 397. Net Element was, at its core, a company that just went out and bought other companies, which is exactly how Motorsport Games operates. Now, this venture was not successful at all. In 2013, Net Element lost $30 million. Their own employees were also leaving reviews on Indeed, stating it was just a complete waste of time to work for the company. Leaked emails also stated the company was out of cash and needed an emergency influx of money just to make payroll. Oleg Fire made a desperate under-the-table move and borrowed millions from shady offshore characters by agreeing to convert debt into equity of Net Element shares shortly after loans were taken out. The result of this, an additional $37 million for the company. Fire then raised the stock price by making exaggerated press releases and dumping shares during the temporary stock inflation. So while the company's employees are pissed off because they're not getting paid, and the company is losing millions upon millions every single year, the company is simultaneously raising millions upon millions every single year, and the CEO is suspiciously bombing around in a Bentley. This is Oleg. Say hi to Oleg. Fast forward to 2017, Mike Zoy and Dmitry Kosko won out, so they work on a merger with a company called Mullen. Mullen's just an electric vehicle company. This merger is currently under investigation for breaches of what's called fiduciary duty and other violations of law by Net Element's board of directors. Mullen Automotive itself, the company Net Element merged with, is also under investigation for breaching fiduciary duties and violating securities laws. As of 2022, Mullen is a failure of a company. Investor Place believes they do not have what it takes to survive in the EV sector. They have just 42 grand of cash on hand and have nothing to offer the EV market. Both Net Element and Mullen are companies that reeled in massive amounts from investors, produced nothing of value, share prices plummeted, and everyone who invested in it is pissed while the OGs bomb around with a nice car collection. Does this sound familiar? Well, I'll spell it out for you. Motorsport Games starts up in 2018 with Dmitry Kosko as CEO. They're, at their core, at least in the beginning, not a game development studio, but a tech company that simply buys up other companies and use that to prop up their stature. This lures in massive investments from people like Fernando Alonso. And like Net Element purchasing Unified Payments, Motorsport Games purchased Studio 397. And they proceed to push out a product that nobody really wants and generates next to no revenue, but as we're building up to, that's not the real point of the company anyway. It's just a means to an end. Despite all these high-profile investments, Motorsport Games still make almost no money, push out defective products, and is always in need of cash, mentioning it openly in investor calls. Just like Net Element, they plan to convert debt into equity of shares when the money runs out, which they've already announced in their Q4 2021 investor call. Just like Net Element, someone sold or received 1 million shares of the company on March 31st, 2022, just like what happened with Net Element. The entire operation exists to bait dumb investors into giving them money. So what's that money used for? Just like Net Element, living large. Dmitry Kosko and Jonathan New, key executives with the company, reel in a combined total of over $1 million per year in salary. Dmitry's bragging about his car collection not just in interviews, but when meeting with other firms for debt financing. He rings the NASDAQ closing bell. He pulls strings to get on TV shows. They're currently funding no less than 4 different race teams, an amateur road racing outlet in Great Britain, a midget team that competes in the Chili Bowl, a super late model team, and they appear multiple times on the side of BJ McLeod's number 78 car in the NASCAR Cup Series. And then these people have the audacity to go in their quarterly investor calls and say, hey, we've run out of money, can you give us more, please? And somehow literally all of their investors are retarded and have not connected any of these dots yet. However, some of their partners, such as the BTCC, NASCAR, and IndyCar, have connected these dots. The track announcer for Orange Show Speedway, a track that usually hosts K&N West Series races, has a small YouTube channel, and in one of his NASCAR 21 videos uploaded about a week ago, states that Motorsport Games have actually outright lost the BTCC license, and that NASCAR and IndyCar are trying to pull out of their contracts with them as well.
They're not attempting to put together a good product. They lost the rights to the British Touring Car Series, by the way. They put their tail between their legs on that, but it was supposed to come out this year in 2022, and it did not, or it will not, I should say, because they lost the rights to it after this fiasco. IndyCar's trying to get out of the trying to get the rights back for motorsports games after this thing came out. NASCAR's trying to get the rights back. Literally nobody is enjoying what they're doing.
Which means that at the end of the day, NASCAR fans didn't get the game of their dreams. Neither did IndyCar fans, touring car fans, or Le Mans fans. The only person who won out of all of this was Dmitry Kozko, who preyed on investors not doing their homework to give him money for doing next to nothing. It's a scam he's participated in one way or another since 2004.